What's up guys, it's M3 Dom here, and today we're going to be talking about should you drive an E92 M3 as a daily. Let's talk about it. So for starters, if you live by anybody close, and you do some exhaust work, you're gonna annoy some people for sure. I don't know if you guys can tell how loud it is. That's like a semi-cold start, and it's pretty loud. Out front of my house, parked on the street, it literally shakes stuff in my house. If you don't know, for the exhaust, it is an OEM X pipe with the resonators cut out and the secondary cats cut out. Then I have the VRSF primary cat deletes with a MagnaFlow axle back exhaust. So let's talk about if the E92 M3 is a car that you should daily drive. Alright, so I want to start off with some obvious pros. Obviously you're driving an M3, a V8 coupe. It sounds awesome. It's just enough power, like daily wise, I mean, faster than 90% of the cars on the road, maybe even 95% of the cars on the road. It's plenty of power to merge, to get around somebody. This car is, for 17 years old, it's pretty quick. It keeps up with a lot of stuff. I've raced Mustangs, and it beats stock Coyotes. It was a stock Gen 2. It wasn't by a lot, and I think if it was a 6-speed, it would have been closer. But I definitely, with this dual clutch, the trans is amazing. It shifts so fast. Another pro is, even though it's an M car, it's still pretty luxurious. I got leather seats, heated seats. The seats are very comfortable to sit in. They're not too sporty, but they're also not basic. Another pro is the way the car sounds. If you just do something as simple as an axle back, or if you do the muffler mod, these cars, obviously everyone knows, sound amazing. Gotta be one of the best sounding V8s that were ever made. It's an amazing looking car. I feel like all the pros are pretty obvious. So now, some of the cons, I'd say, is gas mileage is definitely a big one. I spent a lot of money on gas. Holy balls, there's a freaking Aventador. Oh my god! That was sick. Anyway, gas-wise, this thing sucks. This car probably gets 12 miles to the gallon. Actually, let's see what it gets. I don't know if you can see, but I'm averaging 12.5 miles to the gallon. Granted, I do 90% of city driving, so I'm not on the highways a lot. I did have a job that was mostly highway miles, and I think around then I was getting maybe 15, 14 miles to the gallon. Now this con can be kind of, depending on who you are, it might be a little bit different, but for me, I come from cheaper cars, cheaper Japanese cars, like Nissans, Hondas. So another con I would say for me is price and maintenance. You know, I come from cars that to do your own oil change, it's maybe 35 bucks, if that. And now I pay 120 some dollars for my own oil change. I do it myself, just for oil, which is 9 quarts of oil, and the filter and crush washers comes out to like $120. Other things like little hoses and stuff can be like kind of expensive. I'm used to just going to AutoZone, grabbing a $10 hose, and that's that. I had a hose break on this when I was doing throttle actuators, and that it was a little hose that just goes from the thermostat housing to the coolant reservoir, and that hose was $50. Now, you might think like $50, like that's nothing, but for a hose, for me, like that's kind of crazy to me. Obviously, when you're getting into higher performance cars, more expensive cars, then you're gonna be paying more, but I'm just used to driving $1,000 shit boxes, so that's where I come from on that stance of maintenance price. So for cons, yeah, just like gas mileage, maintenance costs, it's kind of hard. Like I don't know if it's because I just like the car a lot. I don't have many cons, and all the cons that I did name, they're not that big of a deal to me. Like for me, like I just think of it as you pay to play. If you want a daily an M car, you know, you gotta throw out some extra money, but to me it's worth it. This car in the past 2 years and around 17,000 miles hasn't left me stranded one time. There was a time where it went in a limp mode, the actuators went, but that's another thing. If you buy one of these cars and you want it to be reliable, the first things you should do, in my opinion, which I think a lot of people agree on, but maybe not the third thing, I think if you're getting a car, especially around where most people have these cars, around the 80,000 mile mark, throttle actuators, rod bearings, starter. Do those three. I really don't think you'll have an issue. Another thing about this car that kind of makes it a little unpleasant to daily to some people would probably be the suspension. It is a little stiff compared to just a regular 335 or whatever. If I could give this car an overall rating on reliability, obviously this is based on just my experiences, I'd honestly probably give this car an 8 out of 10 when it comes to simply reliability. Getting in the car, hitting the start button, and does it turn on every day? And when you are driving it, does it break down? What in the balls? What is this guy doing? Anyway. This car does not get old to daily drive. If you daily drive this car, it's a car that you will never get tired of. I used to be a guy who was manual only, get a manual car or it's corny. Now, after driving this car, I love the dual clutch on this car. Everyone's different when it comes to the S65. Some people want only manual. Some people don't mind either or. Personally, what I think that if you're dailying an M3, you should definitely go dual clutch. That's just what I would think. I think if I were to do it again, pick any spec, I'd pick a dual clutch for a daily. Now, if it was my weekend car, then it would probably be a manual. I say that because it definitely is a lot of fun to drive the manual car compared to the dual clutch car. To drive it every day, a manual M3, I don't think I'd want it. The manual car, obviously you're in control a lot more than the dual clutch, and you feel more connected to the car. But to me, I feel like the dual clutch suits this car a lot better, being that it is a track-oriented car. And it's just the way you can downshift around corners, hold on to the wheel, and just go is insane. Clutch, that 65 paired with the dual clutch is an absolute killer. So after naming some pros and cons, my all-around opinion is you could definitely daily drive this car if you're okay with spending a little extra money on maintenance. I personally love daily driving this car. Obviously, my car has 190,000 miles on it. I haven't had many issues. I've done rod bearings, throttle actuators, a couple of coolant hoses, brakes, some other little things, tires. I haven't done anything really crazy. The trans has been fine. Engine seems very healthy. It really is an all-around great car. And this is a great example of a car that's been well maintained and well taken care of, and how long it can last and what it can do. That's pretty much it. Until next time, deuces.